So interest rates right now are pretty high, and I'm getting a lot of questions about an assumable loan. Like, what if the seller has a 3% interest rate? Why can't the buyer assume that loan with that low interest rate as part of the package in the sale? This is possible. It's just pretty rare. Generally, conventional loans, which is kind of the main loan product we see out there, they cannot be assumed by a new purchaser. But VA loans, FHA loans, and USDA loans can oftentimes be assumed and have that capability. Now, let's say you do find a property where this is possible. So the first thing is, if it's VA, the VA entitlement from the seller will be tied up in that loan if the buyer is a conventional buyer. If the buyer is a VA buyer, then the buyer can use their VA entitlement. So you have to make sure that if the seller's VA, they're comfortable with leaving their entitlement behind or only giving it to a VA. Then, as you get into the process, the assumption team of these loan servicers ask a lot of questions. They look into the file much more deeply than a regular loan officer, and they have different debt-to-income requirements. They have sometimes citizenship requirements. It's very grueling on both the buyer and the seller has to be on board. The other thing is the timing. So most assumption teams take 90 to maybe even 120 days to close. So you have to be flexible, but they also could actually close sooner and just let you know we're ready to close, and then you all have to close. So you are literally at the mercy of this loan servicer's assumption team and their timing and when they decide it's going to close. And the last point I'll bring up about this is the loan amount. So let's say it's an $800,000 property, but the loan that the seller is giving you to assume has a balance of, say, $500,000. Well, you have to have the $300,000 difference to bring to closing, unless you get a second trust. I just went through this with a buyer client. I thought the process was very interesting. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to me.